Welcome to today's live discussion from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 18 and we'll be discussing verses 21 to 30 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Verse 21. Prithaktvena tu yajnanam nana bhavan prithak vidhan veti sarveshu bhuteshu tajnanam vidhirajasam. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity you should understand to be in the mode of passion. Verse 22. Yattu kritsna vad ekasmin karye saktam ahetukam attar Tvartha vad alpam cha tattamasam udaritam, and that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all without knowledge of the truth and which is very meager is said to be in the mode of darkness. Verse 23. Niyatam sangarahitam ragadveshatah kritam aphal prepsuna karma yat satvikam muchyate. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results is said to be in the mode of goodness. Yattu kame pasuna karma saham karena va punah kriyate bahulayasam tadrajas mudaritam. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. Anubandham kshayam himsaman pekshya cha paurusham mohadarabhyate karma yattattamas samuchyate. That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence, for distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Verse 26. Mukta sango na ahamvadi dhrityutsahas samanvitah siddhya siddhyo nirvikarah karta satvik uchyate. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and with enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. Ragi karma phale prepsur lubdho hinsatmako shuchihi harsha shokanvitah karta rajasah parikirtitah. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. Verse 28. Ayuktah prakritah stabdah shatho naishkriti ko lasah vishadi dirghasutri cha karta tamasa uchyate. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. Verse 29. Buddher bhedam dhriteschaiva gunat strividham shrinu prochyamanam sheshena prithaktven dhananjaya. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. Verse 30. Pravritim cha nivritim cha karya kare bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha yaveti buddhi sa partha satviki. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is the mode of goodness, is in the mode of goodness. So in verses 18 onwards, we have been reading about the Karma Yoga and also, the Gyan of a Karma Yogi and the modes how they control all the activities. So verse 20 finished describing the work done in activities in the mode of goodness, when one is seeing the living force of Supreme, living force in everyone, and that is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now in verse 21, different types of souls, animals, trees, etc. They say, Krishna says that the knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand that to be in the mode of passion. So the knowledge which says that with the destruction of the body, the consciousness is destroyed, that knowledge is in the mode of passion. And according to that, they say the bodies differ from each other because of the development of different types of consciousness. Otherwise, there is no separate soul which manifests the consciousness. They say that body itself is a soul and there is no separate soul beyond the body. This is in the mode of passion, this knowledge. And according to them, even the consciousness is temporary, and according to that, there's no individual souls, and if you follow that, then what we know, they don't believe in what we say, that part and parcel of the Supreme is there in each of us, and it in the form of super soul, and our souls are also the super soul is there in each of us, and our souls are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. But in the mode of passion knowledge, they say that beyond the body there is no individuality or supreme soul, and these kinds of knowledges are considered to be in the mode of passion. In verse 22, it is to consider one part of the reality to be the total reality. Bhagavan says that the knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as all in all without the knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, which is part of reality, is to be said in the mode of darkness. And most of the population of the world, it is in a sort of mode of darkness, because this is how the common person understands, and because they're not following the scriptures, and that is why their body knowledge about the body is very, very limited. And for them, God is just money, and the knowledge is a means of satisfaction, to satisfy the demands of the body, and they're not able to establish a connection with the absolute truth. And the knowledge is more or less like the knowledge of animals, ordinary animals, Prabhupada says in the purport. And it's just the knowledge is only limited up to the eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. And that knowledge, according to Bhagwan, is the product of mode of darkness. So in other words, the knowledge which concerns the spirit, soul beyond this body is the knowledge in the mode of goodness, knowledge producing many theories and different ideas of mundane logic, and lots of guesswork, speculation. That is in the product of mode of goodness, passion, and the knowledge concerned only with keeping the body comfortable is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So the mode of passion knowledge is a little bit better than the darkness. At least they're making some theories, even if they are not right. But the knowledge in the mode of goodness is the highest, where you understand that body is temporary, but the soul is eternal. So now in verse 23, nature of action will be told from verse 23 to verse 25. In verse 23, Bhagavan says the action which is regulated, which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without the desire for fruitive results is said to be in the mode of goodness. So, performing of all the occupational duties in a regulated way as prescribed in the scriptures, in the shastras, according to the different varnashrams of the society, and done without any undue attachment, actually without any attachment or having some kind of proprietary rights, saying that yes, I am the owner of this, and without any dualities of love or hate. In other words, done in the Krishna conscious way for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Such occupational duties, they are in the mode of goodness, and things are done not just for your own self-satisfaction, it is or sense gratification or the self-gratification. They are done for Lord. Such activities are in the mode of goodness, when everything is done to please the Lord. Verse 24, Bhagavan says, the actions performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion, which is understood. When you're just gratifying your senses, pleasing your senses, then such activities are in the mode of passion. Such action is the mode of passion. And in verse 25, the action done in illusion without paying any attention to the scriptural knowledge, the injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or for distress caused to others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So the action, nature of action is described in 23 to 25, starting from goodness to passion and now to ignorance in this verse. So Prabhupada says in the purport that one has to give the account of their life actions to the agents of the Supreme Lord. And who are the agents of the Supreme Lord? They are the Yamadutas. Well, we shouldn't fear a Yamadut. Yamadut is one of the 12 Mahajans. And he's a very big Vaishnav, actually, to think of. He's only doing his duty to take stock of what people have done in their lives, and they are rewarded the next life afterwards according to that result, according to the account or according to the description what people give to the Yamadutas. And irresponsible, negligent work without taking care of paying any attention to the regulative principles or the scriptures, and this kind of action is usually based on violence, and they don't care for the harm which is being caused to the other living beings. And such irresponsible work is carried out in the light of one's own whims or fancy, and this is called illusion, and all such work is a product of the mode of ignorance. Now in verse 26 to 28, it will be all about the mode of good action in mode of goodness, when one is thinking and reasoning before doing the action. And in verse 26, Karta, the nature of the doer, and the actor is described. Bhagavan says, one who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be in a worker of in the worker in the mode of goodness. So a devotee, a person in Krishna consciousness is always transcendental to the material modes of nature. He always is above the modes of material nature. They don't expect any result out of their work. They haven't got much expectations from their results. They are just happy to do their work enthusiastically, which has been asked of them, and they are above the false ego and pride. At least they try, and they're always enthusiastic till the work is completed, and they do not worry about the hardships taken during the work process, and they're always full of enthusiasm, or like they say, full of beans, and they don't care for the success or the failure. They're happy in all the dualities, whether it's happiness, distress, and such a worker is supposed to be in the mode of goodness. In verse 27, Bhagwan says that the worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. Now, such worker is not going to weigh the pros and cons and the consequences of one's action. They will just jump into that work, and that's it, because they're too much attached to some kind of work and to the result. And this is coming from the fact that they're too much attached to the materialism, or their home, their family, their children, and such a person has got no intention for elevating in life, in the spiritual path, and their main concern is to make their life on this planet as comfortable as they can. They're very greedy, and nothing is enough for them. They just want more, more, more. And you can see that people in such who are in mode of passion, they're always working, work, work, work. That is their living mantra, so as to say. And they are, because of greed, they are envious of others as well, and jealous of others, and they will do anything to gratify their senses, to enjoy, for the enjoyment. They will go to any kind of length they can go up to, and they're prepared to do anything wrong as well, in other words. And they are not very clean, and they don't care whether the earning come from right ways or not. They're not concerned about ethical earnings, that's the word. And they don't follow any ethics. They are happy to, and they're very distressed when they're not. Is said to be in the mode of passion. Now the worker in mode of ignorance will be described in verse 28. Krishna says, the worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scriptures, who is materialistically obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. Now, Vishadi is the morose, Alasah lazy, insulting, Naishkritikaha means expert in insulting others, Dirghasutri is procrastinating, Karta is the worker, and Tamasa, of course, in the mode of ignorance. Ayuktaha, such a person is not referring to the scriptural junctions at all. They always feel pity about themselves. They're always like, oh, I'm suffering this, oh, there's that. So they're always in a self-pity mode, we can say. The worker in mode of ignorance. Obstinate means that they will go against the scriptures without considering the consequences. They will go against the good advice given to them. So this is it. They are very lazy. They can just easily insult others without worrying for anybody's feelings. And they are very morose as well. Morose, Yeah, pity, self-pity. It matches that description. And they procrastinate. They will just not care to finish the jobs within the given framework of or the timeline. They will just procrastinate. They will just put today's job on tomorrow and tomorrow's on the day after, and then they'll just drag the jobs for years and years and just prolong the duration and not finish it. So such workers are situated in the mode of ignorance. Verse 29, Bhagwan says, O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. So the doer and knower are the same. Bhagwan says, now he's explained the knowledge, the object of knowledge, the knower, and the three different divisions in goodness, passion, and ignorance, which is according to the modes of material nature. He's described the action and the worker both. And now Lord is going to explain the intelligence. Is explaining that the intelligence and determination of the worker in the same way. So according to the mode, the intelligence and determination of a worker can be sussed out or guessed out. You can see that for fact. And finally, the verse 30, the final verse for today. So we need intelligence for understanding the actions. So Bhagavan says, O son of Pritha, the understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. So doing the actions in the terms of following the shastras, the scriptures, is called pravritti, or executing the right action which needs to be performed, which deserves to be performed. And the actions which are not directed by the shastras, which are not to be performed, such a person does not know the scriptural, such a person who does not know the shastras or the scriptural directions becomes entangled in the actions and reactions of work. So if you know the right code coming from the scriptures or the Vedas, then you know what is to be done and what is not to be done. But if one is not following, he or she will become entangled or puzzled in the actions and reactions of the work. Understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. So a person whose intelligence is in the mode of goodness will be discerning, will be discriminating, will be able to weigh the consequences before performing the action. So Hariam Tatsat, thank you for joining in today's session. I wish you all a very happy Putada Ekadashi, and we'll continue with our discussion next time. Hare Krishna.